we're off to the races. Okay, ready. Let's go. How you doing?
Awesome. Doing good. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a late night last night, hungover, so I was trying to get everything done.
You got it done. Good job. It's okay to have some fun. How about in the game as well? You having some fun there?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, short term, I just want to do, like join normal Lucid parties. Don't really have a Lucid party yet. Maybe solo easy Lucid first.
Okay.
And then long term, Black Mage, probably.
Okay, so that's like that's not even the final stop, like and beyond, possibly.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You're trying to do all the content in the game. Okay. And you're saying Lucid, have you already tried? Have you already gotten your feet wet or not at all yet?
No, my droplets are from hard Lucid carries.
Okay. So
yeah.
You've seen the boss on the inside before, but never really had like the pressure on you to be the one to get it done,
Right.
basically.
Like I attempted easy Lucid at like 240, but that was quite a while ago, so made a lot of upgrades since.
I see. So you're 250 now on the Hoyoung.
Yep. Yeah, I just leveled up today because I was close, and I was like, well, if I get a totem in, I'll be 250. So.
Yeah, it feels good. You got your chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good. Now you can sit AFK at Zakum, get some fame.
Right.
That's what we do it for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and how did the easy Lucid go? But that was a while ago, but...
Yeah, I mean, I got past phase 1 and then died out early phase 2.
Okay.
So,
and you're okay with like the phase 1 with the dragon and stuff, staying above it with your Nimbus Cloud?
Yeah, I mean, I got 2, iframes. One's pretty overpowered, so it's pretty easy.
It's gotten like 4 nerfs over the years and still so good.
Yeah, it's still overpowered, yeah. Especially for Galax, you just like tap it once and then you have to move.
Yeah, and I get a very short cooldown reduction on it as well, so you can use it.
Yeah, it's only 10 seconds or whatever.
And the but so there is the whole thing as well with like the vertical mobility that can keep you above the dragon, right?
Yeah, I can Nimbus Cloud, then the Flame Talisman up, and then Nimbus Cloud again.
Yeah, or you can go yeah, and then if you Nimbus Cloud, if you hit the ceiling, you can also go to the side over the golems, and you don't take damage from them.
Yep.
So that's all.
It's really easy.
And you have the teleporter as well, right? Does that work, or does that drag you through the golems?
I actually don't know. I've never actually tried the one where you throw yourself over.
No, not that one. I mean the gate.
You mean the ground?
Yeah,
the
gate.
earth one.
No, the gate. I mean.
Oh, the gate. No, actually, I've never tried the gate either. Just throw the gate in one of the corners. You mean, and then.
Die a horrible death with gates, mini Zerling? If you use the gate, okay, yeah. Because I don't know if it counts as like
for pink phase and Galax. Just gate one side and then attack on the other, and then.
Nope.
As soon as I see it, I just gate over.
And you've got your vortex thing for the bottom, right? Kill all the potatoes, or use it up top for more damage, and then let the clones fall down. I guess if you're strong enough.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Friday night, I just got my third piece, the belt.
Nice.
Got it as a drop, and then that added like 1 mil range. So now
it's such a strong
Galax
piece.
is
like
less than a minute now or something crazy.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That you could really start feeling that progress, right? With those bosses that used to give you such a hard time, now you just walk in, blow it up, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like don't even die anymore. It's crazy.
Okay. And so that's for like party stuff, I guess. And what have you already cleared? Like where are you at with soloing, partying?
I can do Lotus, Damien. Damien takes me about 7-8 minutes. Akechi, CPAP, and then the next stop was going to be Easy Lucid, I think. Well, I guess I duo Slime.
Okay.
But
that's like what? That's like less than 10 minutes, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you you've got like guild skills and stuff like that available?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. so you can knock
That's
those out.
without guild skills. I didn't know
Yep.
if I should include those.
No, that's fine for the stats. Yeah, just wanting to know because it is a pretty big important thing on like if you're soloing certain bosses in a certain amount of time, whether that's with or without guild skills. That's a decent difference. The lower the lower stats you are, that's a huge difference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and how are you for like playtime, like on a daily, weekly basis, totems, that kind of stuff?
It's usually at least 2 hours a night. 4 hours if I decide to do a totem. This month I'll do all my totems. Only got 2 left, so
Nice. I mean, dedication.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's nice or not, it depends on how your social life is doing. But at least you went out yesterday, so at least some of that is left. That's good.
Right. Yeah. We still go out on the weekends, and I use the time to loosely video study. So
Okay.
at least working on some certifications. So
like online class stuff with certifications.
Yeah, like I'm going for a security plus for cybersecurity.
Okay.
So
while you're toteming on the other monitor.
Right. Yeah.
Multitasking. Hell yeah. Okay, and you're digging Hoyoung. You want to keep that forever? That's your class?
Yeah, I think this is my class. I got dual bladed like 247 or 246, and then decided to level Hoyoung from 202 to 210, and then I was like, wow, I really like this class.
Yeah, never mind the dual blade.
So I just,
friendship with dual blade is over. Hoyoung is my new friend now. Okay. Yeah. And like the dual blade is just gonna get some of the big level potions to eventually get up to 250 as well, something like that.
Yeah, I'll have 2 this month with the event and then the Fairy Bros.
Yep.
So it'll be really close. I might do a couple totems on that to get it ready for 250.
Yep, shouldn't be too bad. Then you have another chair and one more to AFK on.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and you generally finish your totems, or is that more like an exception this month? Would you say?
No, I just started doing them mostly last month and this month. I did like 10 of them last month or something, and then 5, 10, 15 broke me, so I knocked out like 4 or 5 of them in a day.
Okay.
To get back up to 5 mil. So.
Yeah, to get some kind of bank back in order.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that gives us a pretty good picture. How are you in terms of being up to speed? Because you are at a decent level, but sometimes people get a high level just by rolling their face on their keyboard. In terms of like all of the what's coming in Destiny on one hand, and all of the stuff that I have available in like my commands on the other hand. Like, how do you feel like you're up to speed with those?
I use your commands a lot. Like, I'll just pop in if it's like real late after you're streaming. I'll just like type in your commands and do it off stream pretty much. But I'm not like a noob at it, but yeah, I mean, obviously I could be better. With Destiny, I was gonna create a couple bossing mules, hopefully. That was originally an Ice Lightning Mage, pre Big Bang. So I was gonna move back into that for a bossing mule, hopefully.
Oh yeah, okay, I can look at the Legion a little bit and see what you're working with.
Yeah, it's pretty scuffed right now, but it's at least 6K. I mean,
yeah, it's a lot of 210s, so that's like some solid level 3s already.
Yeah, what I usually do is I just do our Vanishing Journey daily on them to get them to 210, and then just quit them after that.
And then they've got a decent symbol if you want to continue them after that.
Yep, exactly. Right now I'm working on the 0.
The 0? Oh yeah. And you got the Adele and the Arc up there.
Yeah.
So there'll be some level 3 links. Oh.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing a Adele bossing mule and then Ice Lightning Mage.
Those are solid classes, I would say. Yep, no problem with those. And then for the Terror Burn, if you want to get like full value, it'll be like 1 220, 1 at least 210, and then you have 2 Terror Burnators, of which you'll get the 3 levels per level up, plus one of them will be some extra rewards as well, like nodes and stuff. So if that happens to turn into a boss single, you'll have a little bit of a jump start there as well. And then one newly created explorer. But you said you were gonna make another mage for that
I was
part?
gonna do another ice lightning. I got a like 120 that I'll just delete after I get it to 220 or whatever.
You've got all the other 2 mages as well, or otherwise you could job change it,
I just
guess?
started on the priest and my fire poison's like 190 something, I think.
Oh yeah, priest is 198. Yeah. I mean, I guess what you could do is if you're going to be remaking the Ice Lightning, is you could also just job change the existing Ice Lightning to Bishop and then have a higher start or something, right?
Oh, so you mean get a...
But I mean, it's 27 levels.
Ice Lightning?
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If it was like 170 or something, that might be worth doing. But this is literally like 2 Zakum runs in a Monster Park day, and you're like caught up basically. Yeah, that's not worth the min-max.
Yeah, so I was just gonna delete the Ice Lightning.
Yeah. Because you're over 40 characters, right?
No, actually, I don't think I am. I think I'm at 38.
Okay, yeah. Well, with even if you delete one, probably with well, I would say just only delete when you're over, like, well over 40, right? Otherwise, you take a hit on your Legion levels again.
Yeah, I was gonna start the new Ice Lightning and then delete it once I got it to 5th job or whatever.
Yep. Okay. Since we're at the Legion, so yeah, there's a few ways to go about it. I don't know if you have like a list of specific questions that we can go by. We can also just go like one topic at a time, and then if you have specific questions regarding the topic, you can just make sure that gets addressed. I don't know what you prefer.
Yeah, so I did make a list of questions, and I figured we'll just do your normal progression, and then I kind of structured my questions around kind of how you do it. So, but I guess I've never actually like job changed a character. How do you do it? Like, I know there's job change coins in this event shop, but yeah, how do you?
So there's the 4th job advancement characters. They're like in Leafer, right? In the thing there where you go just one time and then you forget about it. But Leafer used to be like the main hub of like the entire game for years, where everyone was training, and so there you basically just go back to your job advancement character there, and there's going to be an option to job change, and then depending on what level you are and how many times you've already changed, it'll cost you mesos. But if you have a job change coin, it'll just consume the coin instead, and it won't cost you any meso.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
So what happens when you do it is basically all of your nodes that are no longer applicable to the character will basically be locked, and you just won't have access to them. If you know that you're switching forever, you could extract them beforehand, right? And then use the shards afterwards to craft new ones. But generally, people want to keep the options open, so you just kind of keep them and then they're locked. And then, yeah, for mages, it's pretty good because you use exactly the same equips, right? So you have to change nothing there. But the main thing is nodes. For other classes, you know, if you want to change your dual blade to a Night Lord, it'll be nodes, a lot of nodes, and you have to get weapons and secondaries and that kind of stuff. So that can get kind of messy. Sometimes people are like, oh, I want to switch, and then a lot of times people will feel bad about the switch for 2 main reasons. One is they just didn't prepare enough nodes and weapons and all that stuff, and they just take a huge hit in damage and any kind of kill speed, and they just can no longer kill anything. And then the other thing is that after you play a class for a while, you can start taking for granted the good stuff that the class has, and you're more like looking at, you know, the grass being greener than the other meadow. Kind of like, I want to get these few things that the other class has. And if those, once you really switch, you can start realizing like, oh, this class has those 3 things that I really wanted, but it doesn't have those 10 things that I took for granted, and now I actually want to switch back. And if you add on top of that bad preparation, then people can, feel really bad, and then you have to double pay. So it's I've never done it for that very reason. I'll just make all the classes, you know, because I'm trying to kind of have the experience as the classes for the sake of like answering questions and for sake of content as well. It's like enjoyable for me. But yeah, of course, if you're limited on time, or you're like a 260 mage or something, and you're like, okay, I just want to swap around and play the other ones, and I have a few thousand nodes lying around, then you might as well.
Right.
You're good on Legion coins, by the way. That's you don't see an amount like that for a while, usually.
Yeah, for a while I didn't buy like the coupons while I was training. And I was like, oh yeah, there's coupons. I should probably be buying. And my mates rate will go
now you could be
like,
splurging like crazy,
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel bad for spending them now.
Yeah, that's a good buffer. I mean, you can already pay all the way up to 8k with this amount. You don't even have to worry at all. That's good. And Legion raid power is pretty good as well, so that will help you keep up a decent amount of coins. The well, the the grid placement will.
Yeah.
You probably guessed that I would have something to say about that.
Before I took that picture, I
this
moved
is
all the overlapping stuff.
Oh yeah, this is the cleaned up. So basically, you just was like stuck there, and then you just like mad Legion leveling, and then look at the Legion, and everything is just clustered and overlapping.
Yeah, exactly.
So in general, yeah, you're familiar with the links command, right? So you probably have pretty much everything in like the top 30 plus, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think I'm missing. Well, I didn't do Mihao. Everyone's getting that buff soon.
Yep.
And then I think, I don't know if Kinesis is high up on that list. I haven't done Kinesis or.
It's decently high because of crit damage link skill.
Yeah. And then Hoyato. And then.
Crit damage ones. Hayato, Jet, those?
Jet, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's what I was thinking about, Terra burning and burning this in Destiny.
Yeah, I think, oh man, people might look weird, but I think if you Terra burn a Jet, it could be actually a really good boss mule, I think, because it actually does some nutty damage.
Has it? I've never actually played it or even made one, so.
Yeah, they're surprisingly good. The Project Sierra on it just blew away the bosses. It was kind of ridiculous. And Hayato is a really good like double S rank character for your grid, like a level 200. But a lot of people don't really like leveling it too much, so that might be a really good candidate for a Terra Burninator.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of doing.
And that's 10% critical damage, so that's really solid.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Is that the link skill or the grid placement?
Just the grid placement, yeah. And then the link skill for Hayato is pretty much early game, so that won't really apply anymore. Maybe if you're doing like new level, super low level characters, and you're just trying to get flat stat in there. But the Jet one can be rolled, and it's basically also like a weapon attack, magic attack, and stat. But you have to like pay money to roll the potential on it. But it can get up to like 35, like stat and weapon attack. So that can be a decent chunk, depending on your calculations and how far in the game you are and everything. Can actually be a decent one.
Right. Okay. And then I had questions about the event shop, like prioritizing for that. Right now, between I got 5 characters, I got like 31,000 coins saved up. I was gonna buy the 36 growth potions, or well, that's from the Bud event, and then the 24 from the shop. The EXP nodes, and then should I buy the 50 nodes in the cubes? I'm not really sure there.
I think that you'd always want to buy like regular nodes before EXP nodes, honestly, just because the EXP nodes are comparatively so expensive. Like the regular nodes are they still 70 coins each?
Yeah, 70, and then you get 50 nodes, so 3,500 coins.
Yeah, and the XP nodes is it 2 or 3 that are for sale? But it's like 1,000 each, right?
I think it's 3 for 3K, yeah, total.
So, but like an EXP node gives the same amount of EXP as 2 nodes, to an existing node, which the versatility is really good there. But I think it really only has value if you're like trying to push endgame ASAP and you already have a bunch of nodes and you're just trying to level up your True Arachnid Reflection faster, or you're just trying to hoard them and save up for Seren skill and level that one up faster. I think if you get them, if you get them from like a login event or something, there's no choice there, but you just get them, then they're pretty nice, and then you can use them on skill nodes that just need to level faster. But I typically wouldn't really buy them. I think they're just too pricey for what they do, especially if you're pretty early on and you have more options. You said between 5 characters, so have you considered like some event rings maybe on those characters?
The other characters, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Dawn Warrior, because I do like that class. So I've just been leveling that to 200 and coin capping it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just getting 2 or 3 levels a day on it. So that might be one that I buy a couple on.
Mm-hmm. There's also event rings coming, like the stronger ones, like the 40 stat, 25 weapon and magic attack coming in Destiny. So if you already have kind of a plan on where those are going and which character wants those, then you can plan around that with how many, ring slots you'll have available after that, and then how many you want to buy from this event to kind of complete the set, basically.
Right, okay.
So I think I know it's at least 2, but there's like a few optional ones where I think it's going to be 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a decent amount of those big rings.
Okay. All right.
So like, yeah. So you could get them like all on the same. Well, there's 3 different ones, so you could get like 3 on one character, or you could like spread them out. If it's bossing mules and you want to make sure that they all do decent, if they'll have like 1 big ring and then 1 or 2 of the event rings, then you're super solid. And if you want to exchange helixes later to fill up the 4th slot, and maybe even get the superior set completed, so that they can like nuke up to Lotus and Damien or something, then they can really start making a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my guild, they do, I don't know, 6 or 8 Helix coin carries a day, so I don't think I'll have a problem joining carry for them.
Yeah, you have to do it for like 2 months, man. I just started doing it for my characters, and like, man, I should have started a while ago. It's taken forever. They've got like around 300 coins, and like, damn, it's like half an item. But like
until yesterday, I only had a 2 set, And
yeah.
Like, I ended up buying all 4, and then.
Oh god, yeah. So now you're like 3.5, basically.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. So I only got like 10 or 12 days, and I should be able to get the earrings.
Yeah, that's a good countdown. If I'm counting down like 50 days, it's like, ugh. Doesn't feel like you're moving forward, yeah. No. So nodes, on your main character, if you care, you could consider honor experience. You've got 1.3 mil. That's definitely good. That's definitely a solid start.
Yeah, I haven't really rolled it in a while. I wasn't sure what I should do for my inner ability, if I should just go for drop and mezzo, or I do like the buff duration just because I can keep like vortex and the tiger out, for 10 seconds longer or whatever. But
yeah, it looks like Hoyoung wants passive skills +1, and then buff duration, crit rate maxed, or 20 bosses, apparently very close equivalent.
Okay, passive skills 1. Okay, I'm not even sure what that one does.
It's usually the 4th job skills. If you use decent combat orders, you can basically see what it's going to do. So if you look at your 4th job, you use decent combat orders, it's like the same effect, but it stacks with it. So it'll go from all to like level 21 or 31 to level 32 or 22.
Okay.
Usually it's the newer classes have a lot of really good passives in their 4th job that like empower all of their existing characters, right? Like the base, existing skills, like the base numbers. And, sometimes there's like some ID, boss damage, final damage type skills. If those get empowered as well.
Crit damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
If you add all of that up together, usually it's a nice bunch of stats. And because it's, flat amount across the board, that usually helps. And Hoyoung also doesn't use like 1 or 2 skills, it uses all of them, so that helps empower everything. Yeah, well, maybe not exactly all of them, but like pretty close too, right? Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I would say like your inner ability is very much a if up until this point you had like mezzo and drop rate, and now you want to move towards like lucid will, and then eventually into hard lucid, hard will, and then you wanted to move into like the buff skill duration and the boss damage instead, that would be more like how I would see it. If you want to change for drop rate and mezzo and that kind of stuff, it seems more of a thing where you probably want to get just like mezzo top, buff duration, like 2nd or 3rd line, and then just hold that basically all the way until you're like, okay, now I'm not leveling anymore, it takes forever. Because I imagine that even without the boss damage, you're probably still blowing everything up, considering like, being Hoyoung, and if your gear is good enough and keeps up. So the boss damage switch over for Mezzo will probably be fine, especially since you're still in a transition. If you play enough, right, to do all the bossing mules, that you'll still want to make enough money to be able to fund all the beginning bossing mules as well, because the initial investment on those is significant compared to just like funding one kana to fund them all, basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so that and you have 1.3 mil, so you shouldn't cost all that much, and then you'll have, you know, all that time until you really want to do like the hard bosses. I mean, at the rate that you're going, you're probably going to see 255 or even beyond that before you're going to get to the hard bosses, right? Because you're going to need time to make the money for the upgrades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because level-wise, you're there, but like stat-wise, you know, you're not quite there yet, so that's going to just take some more time.
I think I got like, you know, the 3 big upgrades to make at least. We'll get to those, I guess, when we get to equips, but that should help out a lot.
3 big upgrades, or like 3 big like rounds of upgrades, like events to.
Well, I mean, I'm still using the deep sea earrings, the condensed power crystal, and then I was wondering if I should move off of the Fafnir into the Absol weapon.
I see.
But like you said, I've just been blowing everything up, so I haven't really had to consider it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes things simpler, but it's maybe not the ideal situation.
Right.
Okay. Well, we were at the Legion. We got to this. Do you feel like with the shop, you have like a good idea for the priorities? Because I think cubes and I don't know if there are flames as well. It's probably okay, but that's like kind of with leftover points kind of thing I would do.
Right. Yeah, and then the wish shop, I was gonna do probably flames from that, but
yeah,
depending on how much it switch to Absol weapon, I'll need, you know, flames. So
yeah, and then as long as you hit a good roll there, and the flames are maybe not as important at that point, maybe you buy some droplets, because I mean you are going towards a point where the weapon, the arcane weapon, you're basically starting to save up for it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then you know, it'll start tickling as well that you'll start itching that you want the other pieces as well just to match the set. That's not too crazy. Purely looking at the flame, so I think you would probably want to buy the Eternals, right? Eternals are good value. An Eternal flame is usually worth about 3 powerful flames in terms of like how many you need to hit desired stats. But a powerful flame is worth about 9 mil, and like the symbols are around like 48 or something, right? If you buy it in the Legion shop. So in terms of that, the droplets are kind of better value than the powerful flames in the shop. So I probably say like Eternals, then droplets, then powerfuls, depending on, you know, how many wish coins you have in terms of value.
So you wouldn't even buy black?
No, I think you have to have really, really, really good flames to consider black flames to like not quote unquote mess it up. Like, if you're like in the like I think for my arcanes I would like if you're like in the 140 plus flame score, like 145 or something, you could try buying those flames, and you already have full 21 arcanes, so I don't really need the droplets anymore. Then I would say like the black flames get some value, but other than that, and you're familiar with like the flame score calculator as well and the cost calculator, right?
Yeah, yep, I use those.
You can see like how much is this going to cost? Is it going to be 5 to 10 bill, or, you know, and if because just one black flame, most of them are just going to be shit, you know. Like how many Eternals do I need to get something better? Like 100? Okay, so if you use a black flame, there's like a 1% chance that it's a better roll, right? Versus if that same amount buys you 100 droplets, that's basically a whole arcane equipment.
Okay.
That's how I would look at those at those resources basically. But in general, you know, if you can buy something for event currency, but you can also buy for Mezzo, typically just buy it with Mezzo, you know, and use the event currency ideally strictly on things that you can only buy with event currency. So
symbol rings.
Yeah, but like through that logic, the black flames are basically there as well, because it's only access is like the Legion coins, right? And that's pretty spicy. At least I believe they're in there. So that logic would follow, but I think you're not in the stage of the game where it makes sense, because it's really just like arcanes or stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Okay. You good for event shop otherwise, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we got there through talking about the Legion board. I do want to stress like I hate to be like the Mr. Efficiency guy, but this board like hurts my eyes. Not just in
Yeah.
the sense of like how it looks, but also you put in so much work to earn this many characters on the board. But if you with this setup, you might as well have like a 4K Legion and get the same value out of it.
Okay.
Because of the inefficiency, right? Because like there's like one here, one here, one here, one here. There's like 5, 6, 7, 8 here that basically aren't doing anything, which is like 2 or 3 characters are basically just not doing anything.
Right. So okay.
But you've already put in the work,
middle
so
there.
I want you to get that value that you've already earned it. You just have to you just have to reach out and grab it. But
Redo
right
the
now
board, yeah.
you're like reaching out, but your hand is like in mud or something. Like you're not getting it. So the priority in general of like stats and what you're going for on your account is that like clear for you between hyperstats, Legion, links, grid, like all of that? Do you feel like you have a good grasp on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like crit damage. It's probably most important, and then IED, then what boss?
Yeah, usually they say like it's counterclockwise. Usually it's like crit rate first, then crit damage, then IED, then boss damage, right? Crit damage is more important. It doesn't mean that you have to put a lot of points into it, but it means that you have to look at it first, right? If you can hit 100 crit, that's cool. Move on to the next one, because
Right,
you need the crit rate
that's why.
for the critical damage to work, right? Otherwise, your critical damage doesn't get full efficiency. And then usually it's IED because you need the IED. IED is basically the boss damage. What critical rate is to critical damage. You don't have the IED, you can't confirm your boss damage. You don't have the crit rate, you can't confirm your critical damage. Basically like that. When it comes to, and I assume you have like a different setup for when you're, when you're training, but also when you're training mules. Do you have like 3 setups or?
I just have 2. The other one's not the greatest either. It's pretty much crit rate, crit damage, and then bonus EXP.
Crit rate, crit damage, bonus XP. Yeah. And in Destiny, we are switching the knockback resistance with damage to normal monsters, right? So that could be something. I think that's probably something that at 6K you're not really worried about because you have the lack of filling that you can do. But once you are making the jump up to 8K and all of the pieces get bigger and you can get to at 8K put in 5 extra pieces, you will want to consider maybe going into that as well. Depending on if you need to, but it probably will be very welcome in things like Cernium to buffer that initial hit in not having the sacred power once you want to train there. Because from everything I've seen, Hoyoungs want to go there as soon as possible because of the vortex, the amount of rates they can get there is kind of crazy. Ideally you have good familiars by then, right? You have your bossing familiars and that in order. If you don't, maybe some other characters can supplement them later, but people still hang around now around Limina longer to get their bossing familiars up. But if you can move on to Cernium and get a different kill speed there, the experience is like more than double on Limina. When you're like exceeding 260, 265 especially, it's a night and day difference in progress.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still struggling with getting the boss familiars and the drop familiars. So
yeah. Okay. So no large drop rate yet.
Nope, no large drop rate. I've done probably 30 or 40 rares and
Or epics, you mean, right?
Epics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or no, I've done 15 epics and then or no, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. I've done like 15 uniques, 40 epics, and then
yeah, you got the regular item drop rate. That's a good start, though, right? The increased item drop rate. That's a good start.
Yeah, that's what I trained with.
Large amount is yeah, the uniques are also very important, of course, because of big boss, big ID, big healing. I like the idea just slamming out epics first, like as many as possible, just to get that large drop rate first.
And then I've been trying.
yeah, I know. And then, but yeah, you're sitting on so many epics. You're like, okay, and if you have a lot of cards and you can't even like make more epics, you can even level them up fast enough. Then you might as well make some uniques, yeah. Because I mean, uniques, the second line of unique is still an epic line, so that can get large drop rate as well. So it's not like bad or anything.
Yeah, you just get a chance at the boss too.
Yeah,
because the boss isn't in epics, right?
Bosses in epics, yeah. You can get 20. You get 20 and 30, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, and then from uniques, what can you get? Is it 40?
I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 30, 35, 40.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I can double check. Because in the familiar command here, we have the possible lines. And there was something else that I wanted to... No, not that. Oh, yeah. This will probably help you if you're not... did I draw this? What the fuck? If you're not too fond of playing around with Tetrising with the Legion board. I don't know how much fun that is for you.
Yeah, it's not that fun. I was actually going to ask you about that, and I forgot.
This... Yeah. Let's see. So this one... Boss... Yeah, boss 20 and 30 on... and that's pretty sure that's on Epic. Yeah, Epic. 113 total options. And then 30, 35, and 40. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and but then yeah, unique also has like a large amount of healing for party members, for people, for players nearby, and then also the 30, 35, 40 for the IED as well. So those are the big boys basically.
Yeah. So I'll just keep doing.
Yeah, nothing else you can do. Just keep making them.
Yep. So now that I'm 250, I should just stay at VC3 until I get my familiars, or.
Yeah, I heard that VC3 is great for Hoyoung with the Vortex. You can post some insane rates, like rivaling or even being better than some of the maps in Limina. The only thing with Limina is that Limina is even more lazy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, apparently.
I actually like training at VC3. So
I think there's one map in Limina where Hoyoung's just like they put the Vortex on the left, and then you kind of move to the right in one specific spot, and then you just like spam your regular attacks, and your clones just fly around and kill everything. And as long as you kind of like stagger all of your skills properly, there's always something flying around killing everything. So,
right,
yeah, 1-4, I guess. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Limina will open up. You know, by the time you get there, Limina will open up a little bit from all the Kanas.
Yeah, hopefully.
And then you can just breeze on through. But yeah, you just have to go through the RNG of the familiars. Not much else you can do there.
Right. So I don't want
yeah.
just to clarify, I don't want the large drop and mezzo where it's all one line. I want those separate, right? Large drop.
That's also a good one. You probably want to save that one if you get it. But ideally, you want just large drop rate by itself. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got that one special out here in the drop rate command. Like here we can see the difference. So right now you have increased item drop rate on rare, right? So that's the 50% one. So if you did get the combined line, this one, increased item drop rate by a large amount, that would be 60%. So that would be 10% increase. So that's already nice.
Yeah.
This one is mainly, I like this one a lot for Cernium, because if you are, and like Cernium, you know, burning Cernium, hotel, everything, because once you are going there, you need so much damage to be able to kill the monsters, right? But if you're really strong and you're able to, because you don't have to like one shot with the Vortex, that thing hits like 15 times, right? So if you are strong enough to kill everything and you have like your residuals and you have your clones flying around, and you can start going into Meso gear and keep killing, you can maintain your EXP but gain a lot more money. But you will not have enough drop rate to always get a bag to drop, most likely. Even if you have the inner ability, which you probably won't, right? Because you'll go Meso and drop rate, Meso and buff duration. Just with Holy Symbol, you won't have enough drop rate, and you don't want to have to sacrifice damage for drop rate, because then the total amount goes down, because your rates will start plummeting. So there, if you switch the familiar from the large drop rate instead to this one, will be great, because with this one you'll have enough chance to always have a Meso bag to drop, and you will drop like 40% drop rate compared to a large drop rate. But the only thing you're losing is like a few nodes, and that's it, because nothing else of value drops there.
Okay.
So that would be a good trade. So I would keep this one if you get one, for sure, for later higher leveling training.
Okay.
Yeah, so to bring it back to the grid again, so like the general progress stats is basically what I would say is the progress in which you would apply stats in the Legion board is the same progress in which you would apply stats in the hyperstats, is the same the same priority list that you would have with which you level characters to boost your account, basically. All of those stats are kind of, they just have a certain value, right? And you basically apply the same priority. So I would look at those things the same way. And so when it comes to the Legion Solver, you know, if you happen to need like, but this is like one big puzzle. So you have to look at your hyperstats, see what those are at. So like, okay, you're at 2 here, 6 here. Critical rate is at 9, critical damage at 9, ID, damage, boss damage all at 10. Knockback resistance is at 7. Is that specifically, I don't know how Hoyoung's knockback resistance is specifically.
Actually, I don't think I need knockback resistance. I'm pretty sure one of my buffs gives me 100%. I just discovered that today.
Okay. And that's like permanent? That's permanent uptime?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, we have to be really sure, because if we're going to move things around and it turns out being bad. Or my Hoyoung's in the chat. Hoyoung does need Miha link though? Maybe this is like enough to carry you over in until the changes happen, but then you can redo the, you know, you have your presets anyway.
Right. Okay.
Market power, text site. Yeah, and you have like 2 different presets for the hyperstats as well?
Yeah, I have a bossing and normal one. It's just pretty much normal damage, crit damage.
Will you swap out the ID and the boss damage for EXP and normal monster damage, basically, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like you need the knockback. You don't have the Mihal, yeah, so some stats and knockback resistance probably help. I think the thing that gives you knockback, I think, is temporary.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
But I do have the skill that's like the knockdown resistant.
Yeah.
For like Lotus and stuff.
Yeah, as long as you're using that properly, yeah, then you should be fine. But yeah, so afterwards, those stats will become available. Once you notice, so they're like a general rule of thumb, once you start noticing that the stats outside of like the big 5 in the middle, right, like the critical rate, critical damage, and those 5 guys, once you see that the stats outside start getting to like 7, 8, 9, like you know, basically that high, that usually means that you want to start divesting again from the outside and start going back to the inside and start going past 10.
Okay.
The one I'm looking at is like the critical damage, ID, damage, boss damage is basically always good value. Critical rate is always the one you want to look at a little bit, because the further you go in the game, the more sources of critical rate you get, and you might want to see if you can do some puzzling. That's mostly when you have like 8k Legion though, because then you have some Legion blocks extra. You can fill in completely critical damage, ID, and boss damage and connect everything, and still have some left over to throw into like the critical rate grid. And then you can start really taking some hyperstats away and getting some good value, because you know, just like 9 and 8, if you take those away and you're like at 7 crit rate, just 4 grids, you know, just one block in your Legion, that can be, what is that, 30 and 25, that's 55 hyperstat points. That's pretty good, right? So that way you can like exchange value from one place and another place, and with your link skills, you know, and then you can start moving things around, but it becomes one big tango dance puzzle. And one thing that can help you is to be like, okay, like let's say, okay, like I need 6 crit rate to get to 100%. I want to connect, right? You need to connect through the middle. And then I want to max out my critical damage. You can do like region click, boom, and then this one is completely done. And then ID, for example, you want to region click too, like bam. And then I have, I don't know, like 6 points left in boss damage or something. I don't know. Maybe something like that is what your Legion would look like if it's, you know, if it wasn't this. Maybe. Or, you know, maybe it's actually less crit. Maybe you only need 1 crit to get 100%, and maybe it's a little bit more damage. I don't know. So we can check how much you're covering now. 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah, for crit rate, I'm at 137 with the event and everything else. So I get 20 from the event. So I could actually take the 9 out of the hyperstats and still be over 100.
You can double check here, like how much, if this is like accurate on how much. So you can put in here all the pieces you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say like, okay, I know how many characters I can have, like a number of characters. It says here 29. You have 28. Right, so let's say we take one away like that. So this is spaces to be filled. Let's say that you have 99 that can fill. So then we would do like this. And then you have like congruency between the numbers. And these numbers won't make sense, and this isn't exactly what you have. But then you can just click start, and then boom, like there's your Legion grid, there's your build. That's how you can put them in there, and now you're done.
Perfect.
Yeah. So as long as this is done well, and then this is done well, whatever you drop, it's gonna do something. You want to do a reset. You want to just change this. You want to make it like, you want to make it this instead. Boom. Yeah. Like it's just gonna do it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that helps a lot if you're not like that much into puzzling. The main thing is like the archers stay the long flat pieces, so those are ideally you want to use to get through the middle.
Okay.
That's the easy part, and you'll probably see that. Yeah, you see the green pieces here. That way you have no overflow into the side, and then as long as you have like luck in your main stat there exactly. That should looks easy, but is actually easy. You just have to do the work ahead of time. Have the right characters. And then the second thing I wanted to mention with that, if you're going for AK Legion eventually, which I think you are, right?
Yeah.
Once you go for two, your two setups will kind of shift instead of, and usually you will then either use 3 or 4. It will shift away from you having one setup for mobbing and one for bossing, and will actually start being like one setup for mages and one for non-mages. Because you have so many int buffs, right? And all of them are just completely useless if you're not playing a mage, but they're really, really good if you're playing a mage. And you'd be missing out on a lot of stats. And like the Legion raid power for all the characters is going to be roughly the same anyway, right? They'll have around the same gear at the same point. So it doesn't really matter which one you put in. You'll have like your basis of like 15 characters that have just like 15 to 20 maybe, that have like really, really good member bonus that you just always need, right? All of the crit rates, the crit damages, those guys, boss damage, right? Yeah. And then when you start adding the stat ones, that's when you have like one where you just pile in like the strength, the dex, the luck, or in your case like the luck first, and then whatever strength and dex is left. So that every strength, dex, and luck character can use that setup, and then one that is mostly intellect, then luck, and then whatever is necessary, whatever has the biggest Legion power, your biggest pieces. That will be like the priority after that.
Okay.
Buff duration classes, it does mean that you're going to be like prime recipient if you're wanting to have the high buff duration for the changes coming in Korea, where the top 42 characters are going to count instead of 40, and where they added like legions past 10k. That is going to be valuable for you because you want buff duration. So if you're in a situation where you have low crit, boss damage, critical damage, IED filled, you still want to overflow and you want to go into buff duration at that point.
Okay.
Especially if you're also going to play Ice Lightning Mage, because then you can use that same board basically, because they'll want that buff duration as well for Infinity.
Okay. Right.
That'll save you some switching, but then you probably have the Mage and the and the Warrior setup. Well, you kind of could use the same because luck will be your secondary stat, but and the strength and the dex won't do anything for you on the Hoyoung, right? Dex does. Dex is secondary, I guess.
Yeah. It's like a quarter, I think.
Nice.
Quarter value.
But strength is nothing. Yeah, so you could do like an int luck dex board maybe for you, But then if you want to play a strength character, then you'll have to make another one there. So, well, just so that to think about it in that magnitude, I guess, or like on that level.
Yeah, I mean that is a really good idea because like the mage classes level up a lot slower because they're a little bit weaker than everything else. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think
put some mages in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3. Nope. Okay, so for Legion, and I guess by extension, link skills, hyperstats, event shops, and Destiny updates. That's all. Do you feel like that's all clear? Or is there any topic there you have some questions?
Let me double check my questions.
See if you have anything written down there. Maybe links
I guess
we didn't specifically.
For the bossing mules, how many nodes should I save up, and then when does it become counterproductive against leveling up my current nodes on this?
Okay. Because I would say, if you say bossing mule, would you say like eventually you're trying to get up to the point where you can kill Lotus and Damien on them?
Yeah, definitely the Ice Lightning, and then maybe like the Adele. I'll probably do 4-door.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that I can. I got a friend who we just CRA trade every week.
Okay.
I only got 2 characters that can do it, so.
Yeah, I saw the Dawn Warrior was at had the gear already at 188, right? I'm assuming that that's one of the products of that.
Yep. Yeah.
Chat can tell me how they feel about the number, but I think if you want to do Lotus and Damien, you probably, I would say probably at least 300, like 400 nodes is probably what I would
That's
say.
it? Really?
I think you can get a very, very solid start. It'll depend a little bit per class, right? Like if it's a Hoyoung, you want to get a lot of boost nodes going. Most classes, if you just have like one solid set of like 2 tri-nodes, level them up, and you've got them to like level 14, 14, 15, that's very solid. Like level 15 is like the sweet spot, right? In level 5 slots, 20, 40, IED, boom. And the skill nodes will just be like kind of like yours, like a level 5 or level 6. And then that's pretty much it. And you should be good to go. It depends though, like if you have a really big legion, then you can be a little bit on the lower side, right? You can get, that can carry you a bit.
Yeah.
If your legion still needs some work, then you might have to be higher side. Reldum says 600. What do you need?
I've got 600 saved up right now. So, my Destiny, I should have, a couple hundred more, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that I'm like intuitively lowballing a little bit because of how big my legion is. And that I feel like it doesn't need to have, and probably because of the experience with the bosses. But it totally depends also on like being able to clear or being able to like, solidly clear. Yeah, is it like a 5-minute run? Is it like a 15-minute run? That's a huge difference.
Right.
How much stat are you talking for solo for 300 nodes? Probably like 16, 17, 18k stat or something.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Okay, so Brildim is saying like 18k stat is more like 600 or like 600 plus nodes. But if you're like over 20k stats, then it's closer to 300.
Okay.
Probably depends on the class a little bit.
300, and then I'll just see how well that's going.
Brildim, are you including guild skills there? Because I am thinking guild skills, at least like 2 maxed guild skills, like critical damage and boss damage 30%. Because those are pretty. I drop 1 to 2k nodes because nodes are free and I'm lazy. Yeah, but 1 to 2k nodes per character. Yeah, it depends on the class for sure. So maybe if you're like, if you're below 20k stat, it might be like 500 or higher. And then if you're going to go over 20k stat, that like lowers the amount of nodes you need, something like that.
And I think the Explorer gets like the fake abso if you get to like 220 or 230.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's one for, I believe, what's the exact, I don't know the exact number, but there's one for the Explorer, and then there's one for getting the Terrorburn to 220.
Okay.
So that'll help and save a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Because they're not great weapons, but they're actually perfect bossing mule weapons, I think. Just get a good flame, move on, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have all of your boost nodes for Hoyoung? Don't you need more? Wait, how many do you need again? Is 5 enough?
I thought you only needed 2.
Oh.
Or, 4, Yeah. 2 of each.
But I thought Hoyoung's kind of like boost like everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 skills. Nine, 2, 18, 6 boost nodes, right? Yeah, 6 nodes. And you've got 5, I think. Unless I'm missing one. Yeah, I think you're missing 1 node. So you can use this if you want to. I'll link this to you. So this is something that someone made because they thought their nodes were a shit show. And you can basically keep track of like all the nodes and what you have, and I kind of see what you're missing, and then if you're trying to mix and match, that you can find what the last kind of combination is that you're using. But there'll be, I think you essentially just always keep all of them equipped, so
I'll be honest, I don't use Degeneration or the Evil Seeking Gourd like at all.
So the generation is debuff on bosses for extra IED. So the further you go, the more useful that is. And I believe I think it's just a boss debuff, so I think everyone gets the IED on there, but people in chat can confirm if that's true. The Gourd is kind of weird of a skill, but it is basically pretty useful to use as a filler skill to just build up your scroll power faster, without just having to spam your Seeking Ghost over and over, basically.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, but if instead you Gourd, you can basically you pull in monsters from one platform, and then you press the skill again, you throw them to another platform, and then everything just clears that way. Yeah, generation is low priority, and butterflies and Gourd. Yeah, I heard that those are low priority though. Yeah, so it might be.
For debuff, I always use the 1,000-ton stone. I just flame and then or the 10,000.
Yeah, since they were lower priority, that probably means that you're probably still doing fine. You don't have to use those skills as much, which probably means that to your question of what is the priority of where to use the nodes and everything. I think for Hoyoung, remind me, your Goddess Blessing is not super, right? Because it has
20 damage and 100% knockback.
Oh, there's your knockback.
That's where I got my knockback. Yeah, you're right.
Then you have your Last Resort. You have your Lotus Flower Memory. You have your True Reckoning Reflection. You have so many skills that you would want to use. Gets 280, bro. You want to equip these.
Right, I know.
You want to get your decent combat orders. You want to get your Blink in there. You want to get your... Yeah.
I take out Last Resort when I'm training, put in True Reckoning Reflection. Yep. But really, that's the only one that I switch out.
I guess maybe Holy Symbol and re-equip it at the end of the boss fight or something.
And what would I equip for in Holy Symbol?
So if you were bossing, well, it depends on what boss and how hard it is, I guess. But extra boost out? No. I mean, eventually you want to get the extra one in there, but you have the speed infusion, you have the other one. By the way, even if it's not, you have a vortex node there that's outside of a leveled up skill. I've definitely switched that one with the sharp eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I only did. Okay.
Because it's 10% final damage on those three skills. What would you put in there? Well, that's a good question. I guess the Lotus Flower, if you feel like you need survivability, the decent combat orders for flat damage, or the True Reckoning Reflection is a decent amount of damage by itself. Blink could be useful, depending on if you need the survivability, because it's...
Blink, is that just...
it's random teleport if you're on the ground, but if you're in the air, it's a float for a while, and you can fly around for a little bit. So people will also use that, for example, to stay above dragon. If the other skills are a little bit too risky, you could just hold Blink and fly up, kind of thing.
Okay, so it's kind of like my cloud.
Yeah, but the slowest cloud you could possibly imagine, basically. I mean, you could equip it and give it a try and see how it works, but yeah, it is kind of clutch in some situations. But you have your cloud, so it's not gonna have as many applications as Blink for you. But I think you could do double. I think you can cloud, and then when you're falling, you can just Blink again, right? Yeah. And then
Well,
then you can fire and then cloud again.
Iframe will hold me midair too.
Yeah.
So I can
yeah, you can see in the air forever on a Hoyoung. You go up iframe, cloud, fire, blink, cloud again. Maybe your iframe comes back by then. I think you probably blink early because the blink cooldown is actually rather short. It's 30 seconds. So I think you could do 2 blinks in the air. Yeah. But that's probably too much. I don't know how the utility is on that. Probably some diminishing returns on more than 2-minute airtime.
Okay. Yeah, I can switch that out. I do have a couple other level 20 nodes that were like my perfect try nodes.
Okay.
So I've been working on those. They're level 18 and level 20.
But like extra ones that aren't in the matrix here?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, depending on if they're, maybe you can use that little tool, right, to make sure that you get all of them.
Right.
And then you can easily just switch out the top one and get that fixed.
Yep.
Are you saving money not leveling up your symbols, by the way?
Yeah, so I thought the symbol reduction was gonna come with this event, but I didn't realize it was Destiny. So I was like, all right, I'm in too far. So I just I've been saying I have 10 levels, so it's 1,000 stat.
Okay. Yeah, 1K stat. Well,
but it's like juicy. A bill, like you know?
No, it's money. I think it's around 9 bill. I think to right now, like to level up your symbols to max, so around 1.5 per symbol.
Right. Yeah.
Even think about it. I've maxed 6 characters on this account. That's 54 bill, and it's just symbol leveling. That's kind of crazy, actually. If you think about it.
If you buy the 7-day Master Parker, I think that's like 9 bill or something like that too.
Oh, the badge, the big one.
No. Or was it 1 bill for the? You buy the coupons for like 3.5 mil. You buy 5 a day.
Yeah. That adds up for sure. Yeah. It's like 17.5 mil per day. Yeah, like over a year. Like if you look at the amount of money you make off of like Ursus in a year, it's kind of crazy too. Like I've been doing daily 3 Ursus for like 5 years now. I think that's something like 140 bill or something. Yeah, if you add it all up, it's pretty sick. You're in too deep now. You have to wait. Can't give up. Hodl.
Yeah. I only got a couple more weeks. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Matrix makes sense. Amounts, bossing mules, priority. Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you've got a whole lot of backups. Do we get to equips? Oh yeah, we talked about familiars a little bit. That's all clear.
Yep.
Good shit. You've got your badges. I don't know if you have any questions there.
Badges.
Familiar badges.
Oh no.
I see a beautiful picture. Just to show that you have 3 slots, I guess. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the 3 slots once you're really going for familiars, because then you can level up 2 at a time and still keep your drop rate familiar going. So that's solid. Okay, we can get into the equips.
I do drop and meso and then level up 1 at a time. Should I switch that?
You do drop and meso and 1 at a time. Depends on your total. Are you wearing drop and meso gear?
Yes, when I'm training.
So I'll refer you to this here. So meso drop rate and so there's 3 stats, right? There's meso obtain, meso drop rate, and item drop rate. When it comes to familiars, the 2 stats, meso drop rate and item drop rate, are split. That's why they both exist there. When it comes to other sources of item drop rate, they're including those 2 together. So if it's like an equipment, the item drop rate on there counts as item drop rate and as meso drop rate. So does your holy symbol, so does your invulnerability, like everything else basically. It's only familiars where it's split. So the total amount of drop rate that you're looking for to make sure that a monster that you kill always drops a bag is 66.67%, or 6666 repeating, whatever. So usually people round it up to like 67%, or they say 80% because that's 4 lines of drop on equips. So if you have 4 lines of drop on equips, you always have a bag dropping from a familiar, from a monster when you kill it. Always, even if you don't have any other sources. So at that point, you can the meso drop rate specific familiar doesn't do anything anymore. It used to, like in Bye Station and everything. I don't know if you played around that time, because monsters could drop more than 1 bag, and then you wanted to stack more. But everything relevant now, just 1 bag. So if you have familiar, if you have regular drop rate on your equips, then and you at least 67% between holy symbol, invulnerability, that one. I don't know if you're using like a WAP or something. All of that up probably adds up way more than 67%, right?
Right.
So that means that familiar slot is completely free. You can use anything else there. You can either use the familiar with the highest defense, right, so that the familiar gauge goes down the slowest, or you can level the second familiar, or if you're in a higher level area, like in if you go to Cernium, for example, what some people might do is they might use the drop in Meso one if they're strong enough like that, and then they might use like attack percent familiars or critical rate familiars, anything to get you your stats that you need. Auto steal is also an option, right? Gives you a little bit of extra money. Sometimes extra bags drop. That's like the only way to get multiple bags to drop, but it's not like inherent. It's like the bonus of the auto steal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is. I think I have an auto steal familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. So yeah, I was confused. Then I was thinking it was like Meso obtained, not Meso drop.
I see. Yeah.
I was very confused. That makes a lot more sense. I will start leveling 2 up at a time.
Yeah, if we can get some 60% Meso obtained on a familiar, that would be kind of dope. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was like. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I need, like, okay.
Yeah. That's why I made this, because it is terribly confusing, and there is like the WAPs. They say that they are Meso drop rate, but which would be like additive, but they're actually Meso obtained but multiplicative. So it's like, yeah, that's why I wrote down the exceptions here as well and split up those sources really clearly, because it is confusing and the things sound similar, but then, yeah. Rarer? Okay, more rare.
That's very good.
Rare is not a word. Okay. Right, so that... Oops, I closed it. That's all clear as well?
Yep.
Good. Okay, so then it's full on equips. These are some...
Terrible equips.
Great timestamps we've got. We got 11 minutes in, and then 1 hour and 6 minutes in. Hopefully people
Has it already been an hour? Holy shit.
Yeah, time flies on these things. But we still got 24 minutes to go through all the equips. That's usually fine. Because it seems like you kind of already know what you're doing, so that clears a whole lot of ground, and you've probably heard me talk about stuff ad nauseum. So, do you have specific questions when it comes to equips?
Other than waiting on my earring drop, transposing, this always confused the shit out of me. Yeah. And obviously, do I switch off Fafnir, go to Abso until I get... I'm guessing I would. I mean, it's 32 base attack more, but...
Yeah, higher base attack means also better flames. Higher level item means the flame tiers have a higher percentage, so that scales better. Maybe I can compare, because I think I have a...
And I mean, my potential is not the greatest on that. I just left it because I was killing everything, so...
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But it does mean that if you were switching that over, that IED loss there, it has to come from somewhere else. I don't know if you're like including... The picture early on, was it including familiars and everything?
The buffed picture was. So it was at, like, I think it's 94.88 with the familiars and everything.
Okay.
So it was at 35%.
Yeah, so that's 35 on your weapon. So that means that you end up with like 92 something, which is not bad, but is also not crazy high. Probably want to start using that degeneration. And we're not re-rolling the emblem because of those lines. We could look towards the secondary though, because what you have, the 9% damage line and everything is nice on damage to normal monsters, rather, right? Because the base damage to the normal monsters is kind of low, so it might even do more than attack when it comes to normal monsters. But we want to optimize for bosses, not for regular monsters, right? Maybe if we go to Surname, but even then, attack is really good. So
that's what I use my extra black cubes on. So usually I'll tier up with black cubes and then roll for lines with Reb. And if I buy too many black, then I just throw them on that. Try to get something better.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to the secondary, well, first of all, switching into the weapon into Abzo, that makes a lot of sense. Whatever potential you get on there will like determine what happens. Like if the weapon ends up rolling like basically the same potential as this, but ideally the damage line is instead an attack line, then you can keep that as well for now. You can build around that. But let's say that you get like IED boss damage, something like that. You could keep that as well. But what that basically means is that your secondary is kind of free to reroll. and then you have kind of all the outs again on the secondary, because you'll be so high on boss damage there that you'd also be okay with like 2 lines of attack, a line of attack, and a line of IED, maybe, but you typically look for 3 useful lines. But the damage is kind of like a cheat line because it makes your weapon look like kind of like a 2.5 line, but it's basically still a 2 line because it's basically a 40 boss, 35 IED, right?
Right.
And yeah, your secondary, it's like 44% boss damage, 9 attack, which is like, yeah, it's just a little bit better than a 2 line, but barely. So there's some value there, but the Absol weapon is definitely where you want to get all of the value in. That's going to give you the 5 set as well, which isn't as crazy as it was before, but a little bit. You needed to compensate for the 30% damage loss from the Fafnir set.
I guess that would be another 30 attack and 10% boss damage, so it'd be actually 60 attack better than the Fafnir.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because I've got the thing here, because I've got like a fake on this guy. So if you get a tier 6 with the base attack and it's 17 stars, that's 363 attack.
Okay.
Yeah, all of those little things compounded suddenly. Yeah, so that's what is it? 78 attack extra. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
So that's definitely, and you want to make sure that you get a good flame on there and a good potential, and you want to, well, you can basically just transfer this one in and immediately get to 15. So wait for 5 to 15 and immediately send it to 17. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a single move upwards. We could talk about transposing for a little bit. So basically, when it comes to transposing, it's just to end up with a stronger piece, and to guarantee that you can get rid of a stronger piece. Most of the things that we transpose is because the initial items are very rare, and the target items that we transpose to are more common, are more easy to duplicate, and as a result, you can guarantee yourself a better upgrade. So that's one of the reasons why we do it. The second reason is because the process of transposing adds stats and moves certain stats over, which gives you an advantage and makes it so that the final result is stronger than any other piece can be. So the specific ones is, so whenever you can transpose, you almost always want to, but the new piece is going to be an exception. The Dawn set, like the face accessory, is going to be an exception because of the 2 set bonus that it has with the slime ring, because it's a 10% damage, and the switch for transposing, the bonus that it will give, will only be worth it if you are like, okay, I can get 1 drop like ever, and I'm going to stick to 17, and I'm not going to go beyond, right? If you transpose, but you can keep doing the narrows, and you can actually get to 21 or 22, then it'll probably become worth it. But most people will aim for eventually getting 21 or 22 on that piece anyway, right? And then that is out of the equation. So the main thing transposing does is it moves the flame from the source item to the target item to the sweet, and transposing is always into a Sweetwater item. And basically the only ones we use it on is like for dual blades, we use it on the Katara. And that's because of the reason that it adds stats. So basically what happens is you want to transpose, when you do it at a certain amount of stars, the bonus stats of that star that is consumed gets added onto the item as base stats, basically. Even after you blow it up and everything, it stays stuck on that item. So that's like a bonus that you get just for transposing. And then another reason why we do it is, because of the amount of backups that you have, but another reason is because the target item is a higher level. So not only do you get better bonus stats for every single star, but you also get higher bonus potential stats because it's in the 160 tier versus in the 150 or lower. So for all of these reasons, transposing is just desirable. And that's why, the Fafnir Katara we will do, and ideally the Papmark and the Dominator, because those are flame advantaged items, but those are rarer items and difficult to get, and those have set bonuses that eventually we just get rid of anyway, right? We don't keep the boss accessory set. And therefore transposing, getting the bonus stats, having more backups, etc., all of those reasons, the transposed final piece is just so good that it makes sense to go for it, because the alternative is pitch boss stuff, and that's just so rare. So that's so unrealistic to go for. So it's like a guarantee to go for, and it's considerably strong to make sense that it actually can compete and it doesn't leave a whole gap in your account. So transposing itself, ideally you want to do it at 16 stars. Basically, people have run the maths on like how many stats do you get from the transposing, and how many more stats do you get for the amount of stars that you do on the higher level item. And basically, you want to do it right at 16 because at 16 those bonus stats are really good. So you get like 8 attack, 10 stats, something like that. That like gets stuck onto your item. And then because of the higher level item gaining so much extra stat, you want to do like maximum high level stats. So that's why you get the dineros for the backups, and also for the transposing itself. Transposing costs 10 dineros per attempt. You can try 10 times a day, and it's got a ridiculously low success rate. So sometimes people get lucky and get it on a second try. Sometimes people try for like 2 weeks before they get it transposed. So that's why Commercy exists. That's why that daily, and that's why it's a good idea to level up your boat so that you can do more voyages, carry more items with you. Because eventually, if you want to go for high Star Force accessories and multiple ones, you just need a few thousand dineros for backups, so you can just send it.
Okay, so I go for Pap Mark and then High Flame on that, get it to 16 star, then transpose it.
Yep. Ideally for the flame, I would say like 105 is like the lowest flame I would accept on it. You kind of have to draw a line somewhere. Typically, people will aim for like around 115 or something. And again, you can always use, if you roll like a 114, you can always check the calculator and see like, okay, do I want to go higher? How much is that? Am I willing to spend this? Yes or no? Like I transposed like one at 108, one at 114. Other characters I got lucky with like a 120 something. It's a little bit all over the place.
And then how much you want to put into it? Okay.
It's about 10 bill, I think. Like that's around the number that people look at for the flame max. I think that's around a 115, 116, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Because it's for endgame, right? Because once you transpose, the flame advantage goes into the item, but the item is still an item without flame advantage. So you can never redo the flame. If you do, you completely destroy the flame, right? You just get like a 6 dex flame on it or something, and be like, there goes all that. So that's why you're already flaming for the end game. So that's why when you're transposing, or when you're working on your weapon, I would say those, until you reach the end game, those are like the only 2 situations where I would actually buy flames. In all other situations, I would just slowly flame up, just use the ones that you get as drops, etc. Or like from event stores, right? But for those situations, I would, just so that you can make sure that that project gets done in a timely manner.
Okay, so I shouldn't even try this until I probably get a Pap Merc, and then...
it's Dominator Pendant with the Superior Pendant would be like the duo. If you get a good flame like you have, but not quite all the way, then this can be like your damage pendant for a while. And then, because like 40 and 6 is not quite at the transposing level, but it is really nice. But it would be a shame to roll over this. So if you have another Dominator, just like flame it on the side. And then once you get the flame that you want exactly there, then you can get that to 16 and then transpose it. And then this one can be then re-rolled for like a drop or mezzo or whatever pendant, whatever utility you need out of it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess right now the only thing I'm throwing my flames at are my
CRA?
top.
Yeah, because I think I said a CRA flame was like, that looks like a work in progress.
Yeah, it's like every time I get a flame, I just throw it out.
Yeah, whatever the other 2 have, like that's a good aim. You're familiar with the progression grid, right?
Yeah, for like what flame score and
flame score, what numbers to aim for, and everything. So that's like kind of what you're aiming for, what you're aiming at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're in between jump here. Yeah, that. Yep, exactly. Good.
Yep, yeah, I'll pull this up every once in a while, so just try I'm still on track.
Yeah, you didn't see anything super crazy on there that you're like, what the fuck is this?
No.
Okay,
so.
good. Just double checking, because things can get outdated without really realizing. Something can move somewhere, and then it's like like Nexon's code. Like you'll change something somewhere, and then on the other end, suddenly you're the what was it? It was like the android from the Wandroid event. When it stood still, it like had the igloo effect of like some kind of pet set bonus suddenly. And it was like, where did that come from? Like, I don't know. Something Someone changed the value somewhere, and now this is our reality.
Spaghetti code just destroyed it.
Yep. And you were talking about the condensed power crystal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still rocking it.
Yeah, so we're kind of in a situation where if this was like months ago, I would easily say like, well, get yourself a tattoo and Star Force it up in the summer update, right?
Right.
Definitely after the sale and during a 5.10.15, or maybe if the Shining Star Force is a thing. But because of the upcoming changes, it might be better to just kind of like skip that whole thing and see once you get starting Lucid, Will, and then Hard Lucid, Hard Will eventually, if you can get yourself one of those new pieces, the Dawn set face accessory instead, so
Right.
just for to be future ready. So that when the Slime Ring comes in, that set bonus can take over quite nicely. Slime Ring is, I think, kind of a trap if you do get one. Don't go into it too quickly, even if the set bonus is there and everything, because it's one of those items that I think it's really only worth if you're making the whole move past 17 stars and into like 20 and 21 stuff. I would almost treat the Slime Ring basically as like a superior piece in that sense, where, well, not like a superior piece, you want to get in there, right? You want to get into 17 because the set bonus is so amazing. But
Right.
then the Slime Ring is more, at a 17 star Slime Ring, it's like okay, but it's basically the equivalent of like a strong event ring, right? And then the set bonus will make it a little bit stronger, but at that point you probably have so many rings that are all already almost doing the same thing. Like you can get a Kana Treasure, you can get Superior, you can get Reinforce, you can get all of the event rings. Like they all kind of do the same thing, and to add like another legendary ring onto that, you're just kind of wasting your money, I think. So I would just, if you get a Slime Ring, just hold on to it until you're making that big jump, like you're getting like a 21 star Kana Treasure Ring, maybe for itself, maybe transfer into Superior, another one transferred in another Superior. You're talking about Superior backups here. That's just a project for later, and it kind of sucks that when you get it, you can't really like immediately hop into it. But I think it's better to just save that for a rainy day, because if you get lucky and you can get multiple rings, that might mean maybe you don't even have to transfer. Maybe you can just YOLO one and see if it works out, And if it works out, you might save yourself a whole lot of money. So that would be cool.
Should I even make Meister at this point?
You have a lot of rings going on here. So you have your full drop Mezzo combination. And do you have extra drop combination or not that?
I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean?
So usually you go for like 5 Mezzo 4 drop, right? To have like one line on everything. I think you have 5/5 because of the pendant. Right? The Superior pendant. Nice, you rolled that on the Superior pendant. That's just great.
Yeah, I know, right?
Typical. Yeah. Time to get another one. Yeah. Beautiful.
Keep this. We'll see what happens.
Lovely. I was trying to go for luck, but Yeah. So
I don't think I have all the Mezzo though. I think I'm at 3 Mezzo.
Okay. And where? Let's see. You got drop. I face one pendant, and then the other pendant. So it's 1 Mezzo. And then, do you have an E-ring with any of the stats?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't quite push the DLC rings. Yeah, I think it's okay to push the DLC rings to legendary and get drop or Mezzo on it, because you're gonna need to drop or Mezzo like E-ring anyway, right? You want to get the 5 Mezzo so you get the 100% from your equip cap, and then as much drop rate with that as possible, because you want to get nodes, you want to get droplets, you want to get all of that stuff. So that's like an okay thing to upgrade. Don't feel like it's a huge waste of upgrading DLC, because it'll also be part of the boss accessory set. It'll help with the set bonus. It has its flame advantage. This one is 76 and 5 attack. Like that actually packs quite a punch.
Flame,
yeah, and just get some backups and eventually get it to 17 star as well. So just so that you can wear it when you're bossing and you don't lose like 15k stat when you go into your bossing gear. Eventually that's kind of unavoidable, when you're like 55k stat, you probably go down to 40 or less when you go into your bossing set. But even then, 40k stat in bossing, you still nuke everything. So you will get that value back. So I guess you can use a Mezzo there, right? And then we're at 2 Mezzo, and there's a 2 rings with drop. Yeah, so you're kind of over on the, and then another drop and another mezzo. So I think, wait, I think you have 2 lines of mezzo now, or am I? Oh no, there's another ring here. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, so 1 ring, and then the independent with the 2 lines, right? I think that's your only mezzo.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
I must have accidentally re-rolled one.
that's possible. Yeah, because when you have so many rings, it's sometimes hard to keep track of
I'm
what is the
confused.
function.
Like which one's the lowest? Which one do I re-roll? Like,
Like I think your kind of treasure is 16, but it just has 1 line of 12% luck.
yeah, that's the one I'm re-rolling right now.
Yeah.
Waiting for the 3 line, hopefully.
Yeah, but again, like I said, like a lot of the rings at that point kind of have similar functions, and you can get more kind of treasure. So if it ends up rolling mezzo or mezzo and luck, then for now that's also something really useful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would work on that set to try to get. So you have a lot of drop, and I think that's good. So ideally, the set is like, okay, in the beginning, you just go 1 equip at a time. You try to go for 5 drop. 5 mezzo, 4 lines of drop, right? Because 9 accessories, 1 line on each. And then if you get some doubles, you just add that up. You go for 5/5, 5/6, whatever. But the mezzo stays 5, and the drop goes as high as you can. And then the further you go, you try to get at least like a line of stat together with all of those, so that you don't lose so much stat when you switch equips. And then the jump after that is you take away the mezzo pieces and you replace those with also drop rate pieces. That tends to happen when you're switching from kind of like a hybrid setup to specifically just drop and mezzo, because there's going to be a bunch of legendary pieces that kind of just like lose their function at that point, right? Like you're replacing your damage event rings with like 19 star kind of treasure, or like a 21 reinforced or something like that. Yeah. And then typically you get drop rate on them to replace the existing mezzo pieces, so that when you're specifically bossing, you can increase your drop rate past that 100% or 120, whatever you get from equips, because that can stack all the way up to 200%, all the way up to 10 lines. Okay. And then you can get more.
Drop that you can get?
Like all the way across the board. I think I calculated that here. So this is a drop rate command as well. Maybe you want to look through this one. I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, I've never heard of this one.
Because like all the way on the bottom, like this is like, yeah, so this is like a realistic situation, like the coupon and the familiar, all the stuff. And then this is like an ideal situation that you have literally everything basically that can possibly stack with each other. There's even like Demon Slayer, Night Lord debuffs, for like extra drop rate. And I think that can get you a total of 445% bonus drop rate. And that includes a greed pendant. So we're not actually 100% sure how that is calculated, but that would be like for equips another 20% on top of that.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so yeah, I'll get my tattoo to 16, 17. Upgrade the earrings, wait for superior drop.
Yeah, so about the tattoo, yeah, you have a tattoo with drop. Yeah, I think eventually you get your drop to 16, 17, and you can still wear it now, because you don't want to have that pressure be on your condensed power crystal, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
the flame is keeping it good enough, but once you get to 17, the weapon attack is going to overpower it, especially once you get the superior and the other pieces in Sweetwater stuff. The set bonus is just going to completely disappear, so
yeah, right.
It's going to become bad.
It wouldn't even be.
Yeah, so as long as I have the list of like how many lines you need, then when you're re-rolling a ring, you can be like, let's say you re-roll for like mezzo and stat, and maybe you get another drop rate. Maybe you look at a drop rate ring that you have that maybe doesn't have stat, or if that exists, or hopefully you roll a bunch of stat, so you have like a nice damage ring. But just make sure that you don't get so many rings that you have like 12 unique legendary rings like in your inventory, and they don't even all have a function, right? Because they're all like really close in stat, and in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter if it's like the stat of a Cosmos ring or the stat of a Reboot Awake ring. Like, yeah, in endgame, this amount of stats would make a difference, but in endgame, you're not wearing either of them anyway.
It doesn't even matter now.
Yeah, so, yeah. So sometimes, especially when people are playing like one character a lot, they'll like try to get every single little upgrade on it. But if you're spending like 2 bill, 3 bill on the potential to get like 10 more stat, it's like, at that point, that money is just so much better spent somewhere else, right? You don't want to end up with an inventory with like 16 legendary rings, like my Demon Avenger.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
why did I get all of these? I think I recently extracted like 3 legendary rings, and I still have like 6 of them in my inventory that don't really have a function right now. It's like, bro, why? What was I thinking all that time? But you live and you learn from that. So I'm just trying to make sure I pay it forward and people don't have to make that same mistake.
I appreciate it, and that's why I did this before I tried to make some major upgrades and just goof everything up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me look at the backups because you had a picture of that, right? To make sure that
say,
we.
like, I want to clean out my inventory. What
Yes.
can
Yes. Because I think
So-
it's okay to keep like 17 Abzo. So I think all the stuff that would go into Abzo is probably fine to get rid of.
like all the 150s, which
Yeah.
and then
Shoes, gloves,
I
capes. Yeah.
reinforced for fodder.
Were you keeping the Mechanators for like possible extra drop mezzo things?
I wasn't sure if I should, so I just kept a couple of them. What is it called? I just put them in the extractor now.
Yeah, because I
get 'em.
think, yeah, for pendant I would just lock in Greed pendant and the double line one. I think that's like the solid one. You basically build around that because Greed pendant already has like the item drop rate as well, so that's like a higher chance for what's it called, for the symbols, right? Those are equips. So
Yeah.
you build around those two, and then of course anything that has like a large amount of luck, that's probably going to be the next one that gets locked in. And then you see which pieces you need, and then you look at pieces that you already have that could fill those slots that are maybe already unique or already legendary, and then you re-roll those first just to get it all ironed out, and then you can build, and then you can look what are you missing from that.
Right. So how many should I keep? So like I have like 15 capes here. Probably
I
don't
mean,
need that.
I don't think you need any anymore, right? Because I think the Abzo stays at 17. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's mainly going to be the big upgrades from here are going to be like Abzo weapon. First of all, like make sure that the drop in Mezzo set is like on point, right? Then it's like saving for big event, switching into Abzo weapon, redoing the pot, redoing the flame, getting it to 17. Then it's going to be probably the next thing after that is making sure that you have that the tattoo, right, to make that one fill the slot. And after that, it's mainly just saving backups, and then it's probably going to be like tapping up the CRA first to 21. Then hopefully before that time you get your 4th superior. But depending on when you get that, if that's close and you have enough money, you could also maybe do the double jump, that you don't go like 17 and redo the potential on it, but maybe you can get lucky, get one of the fodder pieces up to 21, transfer into a 20 superior, and then redo the potential, so you don't have to like risk that. That depends on when you get it and how far you are. Well, you said like 12 days, so it's probably going to be before. But that extra ID from the set bonus also gives you that liberty to not need as much ID from the weapon, right, when you redo the potential, so that's good.
Yeah, that'd be like a good trade.
Yep. So after that, it's going to be like the group of all of the fodder for superior. So anything that can fodder into superior, that's the stuff that you mainly want to save. So that's like the reinforced earrings, the dominators, Kana treasures, and belts. So those are the ones I would hold on to, and most of the other ones can basically just dip, unless you want to keep like the commercy stuff, the Sweetwater stuff, probably, because you just never know if something is going to be relevant with that, and they're so terribly rare, and if they take up like 3 or 4 slots in your inventory, I think that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other stuff like the extra fans and stuff, I don't think they're very, very useful, because you're just going to transfer your existing one, right?
Yep. Yeah. I planned on it, so won't even.
When it comes to medals, a lot of them you can reissue later if you want to. So if you're ever like stuck on inventory space, you can always just toss them and then get them back later.
Okay. Yeah.
If that's something you're worried about, that should give you quite a lot of extra space, right?
Yeah, that'll give me a ton of space.
Or like the 160 belts for Zakum, you can always get rid of those because, 150, because they're already 150, so they can transfer into any existing belts.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, because Superior's already 150. Okay.
Yeah, and it sucks because sometimes people get like a carry at like Zakum to make sure they get the accessories, and they'll be like, oh, Zakum belt, and they start investing in it. And then if you want to main your character later, it sucks because you can't get that value out of it anymore. Whereas if you had taken a pink bean belt, you know, it's pretty much exactly, it's that 10 levels lower, but it's flame advantage, boss accessory sets, all that. But
Yeah.
you can transfer it into the superior, so a lot of your value can actually be safeguarded. So that's like the Zakum belt is kind of like it's kind of like bait actually.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, that should give you a bunch of extra inventory space. Yeah, when it comes to the materials, I would say select the one character where you want to get all the stuff on. Yeah, you can have 5 bags in total. So I don't know if you have 2 material bags. We're gonna get bigger material bags and stuff somewhere in the future as well, so that'll help you clean stuff up. I see you've got one smaller bag that can probably be replaced by a bigger bag. To
Yeah, for the etc. I'm not too worried about it because I
Mhm.
have, you know.
Yeah, I have like one dedicated crafter where I kind of just like throw all the relevant stuff at, and then the kind of meme shit I just keep on, I keep in some bags and then look into it
Right.
if I actually need something, but usually just kind of like piles up.
Yeah. Okay.
Um. Okay, I'm thinking that we probably got through most of it. Is there any question you still had on the list, or anything we went by where
No,
you feel could address it a little bit better?
no, I think I'm pretty clear for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 months probably.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So if Shining Star Force does get announced, it'll probably be like the chance for you to like tap CRA, because I imagine that's the only thing you will have money and backups for that makes sense.
Right.
And then I hope you make it. And then depending on your budget, look at the calculator, see if it's realistic to reach it. If it's not, just go 1 star at a time. If it is realistic, then just tap 1 item at a time, basically.
Right. Okay.
That's like the general advice, you know. If someone has 200 bill, I'm not gonna say like, oh, min max your individual meso and like make sure that every optimal. Like, no, fuck that. You know, just just click, turn your brain off and click a bunch of times. Because you're almost wasting more time switching between equips than just sending it. But you know, if you're on a budget of like 20 to 30 bill, you're like, you know, it's like guaranteed 1, maybe a second one. It's better to just get everything to 19 and then 1 or 2 to 20 rather than getting 1 to 21 and the other 2 sitting at 17, because it'll be way more stats, you know.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, you have the basis of the equips, of the accessories. You'll get that cleaned up.
Yeah.
Manual, yeah, dropping a luck on the superior. You probably want to try to get the drop rate away from the superior and probably roll it on something else, but it'll depend
Yeah.
on, are you going to use like a 17 Star Force scroll on something, for example, or are you going to make Meisters, right? Because that's where the Meisters would come in. Let's say Shining Star Force comes out, you get super lucky on the CRA, maybe even lucky on the belt, and you're like, I still have money, what do I do? Maybe if you can make Meisters and get lucky on one, transfer into the superior, then you only have to do the potential once, right? That kind of idea. That could save you money in the long term. So, but yeah, the main thing would be, yeah, in the short term, it's just accessories, weapon, and like save. But you'll see your and inner ability, right? But with those things, you'll see your income go up quite a lot. And if you're using the Legion wealth and you're using the WAPs when you're training, you will see a lot more efficiency and money while you're training.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hitting like a bill totem right now at BC3, which to me is like next level. So
yeah, I think for Hoyoungs, if I'm not mistaken, I think that can go up to 1.6.
Jesus.
Yeah, something like a 1.4, 1.5 up to like outliers of 1.6 or something. Because it's just, yeah. Maybe see if you can find. Are you in the Hoyoung Discord?
No, I was just about to ask about the Hoyoung Discord, and then you
Because
have
maybe I
like
know some boss rotations or something, yeah, or mob rotations for the maps.
yeah, I was gonna ask that.
If you join my Discord, are you in that one?
Yes.
And then if you go to that one and you look at the top left, there is a thing called class Discords under the stream live one.
Stream live.
And then we should have. Wonderful. No, Hoyoung should be on the list here. Is the Hoyoung here? Oh, there's a notification for that one. Did you find it? Class Discords?
Oh yeah, I'm on the class Discord.
Yeah. So Hoyoung is like near the bottom, but Noah put a message here because apparently it's like a invite thing. So there's someone on Reboot Central you have to message for that. Someone called Gage apparently. 210 plus only. Well, you're 210 plus. Are you in the Reboot Central Discord as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully you can find them there and then get the invite. Yeah, because every class Discord is a little bit different, but they usually have like an FAQ section and a general question section, and you can probably find some boss rotations, maybe some rates you can compare to, because you get like a little bit better inner-ability, a little bit better meso obtain, a little bit better boss rotation, maybe a little bit better loot rotation, map rotation, loot rotation, all of those things. And then 10% everywhere, and then boom, you're making 50% more money. Like it could be like that, yeah. And then you spread that over 20 totems, and you're just printing cash.
Yeah, which would be nice. All right, I think that clears up a ton for me.
All right, if anything still comes up that's like you feel like needs in-depth explanation, just hit me up on Discord. But otherwise, I'm always in the chat. I try to answer all the questions there, so. You know where to find me, or someone else in chat might throw like a command at you that maybe you hadn't found yet, because there's so many. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
And you're welcome for the quick service.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'll see you around.
All right. See ya.
Boom. All right. So chat, if you guys were helped by this, I'm glad. If there is still a bunch of time left on your totem, I'm sorry, Master Bear. Most people at home will probably have around 20 minutes left on your totem if you started around the beginning of this video. But if you are interested in one of these sessions, make sure you check the description of the YouTube video. And if you want to win a free session, make sure you leave a comment saying that you would like to win with your Discord name. And I will be drawing 2 winners soon, in about a few days. And you could be one of the 2 people who get a free session with me. So make sure you do that if you want to win. If you need any of the commands, check out my stream. I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. And we're working on 180, 190 something commands with information, trying to keep them all up to date. But we have a great, helpful chat up there. Oh, my fingers got cut off there. Right up there. Right, great, helpful chat. Look at them. And I try to be at your disposal and help you as much as possible. And find me live on stream, or I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Thanks for watching. Bye. And I heard that the Mule Guild made it to 30 skill points. Good shit, guys. But my Sundays are too busy, and I'm finding it hard to find time to cap on points. Okay.